Hey, let's make some ham dumplings. These are simple. I'm not rolling out dumplings. They're gonna be the dumplings, just, I don't know, if they're kind of a chewy dumpling. If you don't like a chewy dumpling, then you may not like this. I have seen people, and I have occasionally used canned biscuits. This is just easy to mix up. And so I'm gonna show you what I've done, and then we're gonna add some milk to this so that we bring it to the boil before we start dropping our dumplings. I have this, we were blessed with Hudson, Julie's husband's parents. He always smokes hams, and so with having all the family in with our funeral and all that, that's been so wonderful. But when I have leftover ham, I like to make ham dumplings. This is a smoked ham, which gives the dumplings a really good flavor. So what I did was I cut off, and I did 2.5, well, it was really almost 3 cups of the cut up ham. You see it here? See my little ham pieces? Okay. Now, then I put 2 cups of water, and you know, this is just really a trial and error type thing that you can make, but I'll try to give you my measurements. I put 2 cups of water, and I put the ham in there, I brought it to a boil. Now, the thing that I did, this has so much flavor. I tasted of the water mixture a while ago. I've not added any seasoning, just that wonderful smoky flavor from that ham. But I put 3 big hunks of fat in there while I was boiling it. And so I've taken that out, and Milo's gonna love that. But anyway, so now to this, I'm gonna add, and again, I normally don't measure when I make these, I just pour and go. But we're gonna say that we're gonna add, I'm gonna say, let's see what a 1.5 cups looks like as far as my liquid. Because you know, the more liquid you put, the more dumplings you've got to have. And so I'm not necessarily, I'm just making this for Randy and me. I am gonna start with the 1.5 cups of milk. Now, you can use water if you don't have milk. I prefer the milk, but I'm still not seasoning it because I want to wait and see. It is going to need some salt. And so while that comes back to a boil, we've got to have it boiling, you know, a rolling boil. And you can see all the little stuff that's coming off in there, the little black stuff from it being smoked, and that doesn't bother us. Now, I've made it just out of a leftover Kentucky Legend ham, any kind of ham from Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, whatever. If you've got ham, this is so good like this. And so I'm going to bring this back to a boil. And once it comes and it's rolling and it's ready, what I've done is I have taken 2 cups of it's all-purpose flour, and I did add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I put about 1.25 cups of milk, okay? And I have, my little dumplings will be small because, you know, they're going to expand. And so see the texture of it? That's kind of what they look like, okay? And so once it starts that simmering roll of the water, we will begin, or not actually water, but of our mixture, then we are going to begin to just drop little pieces in there and then we'll have to cook them because this dough is raw. And so, and you can't get too many in there because then when they start cooling off and you get ready to eat them, you don't really have any little bit of a juice in there. So you want to leave a little bit of juice so that when they start to cool down, they're just the right consistency. And normally, even when we have leftovers and we put them in the refrigerator, they go ahead and soak up that juice. And so you really don't have any when you're reheating them. And that's okay with us. Now, like I said, if you just like the where you roll them out and you do them really thin, then this is not for you because these are going to puff up. They might be a little bit on the, I won't say chewy, but you know how kind of gummy texture, whatever. We love that, and we really, it would not have bothered us to have cut up just some little pieces of the fat to have in there, but I just chose to do that so that it would give it more flavor because it has so much flavor. We will come back and we will add, when this begins to start with the rolling, the boil with it, then we will start putting our salt. We'll start with these, and then we'll put some salt and pepper just to see. I'll be back to let you see that. Okay, it has reached the temperature. I hope that you can see because I really don't want to pick it up off the eye, but I've got a really good rolling boil. I was afraid that with this eye not being quite as large as this, it wasn't. But you have to be careful with your milk too that you don't scald it. And so we are just going to start adding some of the little drop. If you'll do that in your hot liquid in there, it comes right off your spoon. And we are just going to add these. This is, I mean, the most time consuming thing. Of course, you have to stand over this to drop these. See how I'm doing? This a little bit pulling. I probably could have put just a little bit more milk in it, but I'm not gonna worry about it for us. See, it's just small because they will fluff up and that's why you cook them, because it's raw, and that will help them to kind of puff up and not be maybe as gummy. They'll just be kind of tender little bites of biscuit maybe with just doing this, okay? And so we're just gonna continue to add these. And you don't, like I said, don't over put too many of the little drops of the dumplings. If you wanted to do canned biscuits, I think that I would probably, you know, if it's the large flake ones or whatever, I probably would section those into 4 and then maybe get about 4 to 5 little things out of each piece of the slice of the biscuit, and that way you know that it's not going to be too big. You know, because if you put great big pieces of this, you got a dumpling that big, and that's okay. I've had that happen too. This is so easy. Annalise makes these. She loves this. She watched me one time make this, and so then when she got home, I don't know, a few days later, Julie called me and asked me just exactly how did I do it, because Annalise wanted to make them. So they're very easy. And I'm not going to keep you the whole time that I keep dropping these, but once I get enough in there and I've cooked it a little bit, let me see if I can let you see one. And of course I've got the black stuff in there now from the smoking off of the skin and the stuff like that. That doesn't bother us. You might not like that, but they will fluff up a little bit more. Let me see if I can get one. Here's just a little, it's not tender yet, but that is larger than it was when I put it in. So we'll come back and we'll see what they look like when they're finished. Okay, I want you to see what our ham dumplings look like. I want you to see the how they're not soupy, but you want some liquid left in them. Here's just a bowl of them. See, about just a little bit of juice. I don't know if you can see it. Look at there. I love a lot of ham, and we're gonna have a bite of ham, piece of ham in every bite. But see, when this cools off, that will have thickened up and it will be the right consistency, which I could eat them just like this, okay? Now what I did is, and it did take, that was perfect. Like I said, I didn't know because I just normally do it and I don't measure, but I used every bit of the 2 cups of flour that I mixed up with the half a teaspoon of salt and about 1 1/4 cups of milk to make my dough. Again, you can use water, you can use canned biscuits. But what I did was once I got all of that in there, I kept it to a rolling boil. Make sure though you don't scald or burn your milk with that. Just make sure when you drop these that you're stirring constantly and that it's not gonna stick on the bottom. Once I got them all in there, I turned it down. I'm not sure about this. I turned it down on minimum, which what you want is when you get them in there, they're gonna have to build back up because those are cold. You wanna see just a little bubbling that you know that it's cooking. And so I covered them and I let them cook like that on a low simmer for about 15 minutes. And then, like I said, but occasionally I'm stirring to make sure that they're not sticking. Let me see if I can let you see this without burning myself. I don't know if I can or not holding this up. See how good those look in the boiler? Look at there. That is so good, y'all. And this can be a trial and error for you if you don't make dumplings or whatever. These are so easy and they're so tasty. And the smoked ham is my favorite flavor that you get because that smokiness in there. You see I've got the black from that came off of it, which I added. I forgot to tell you, I did come back and put about 1/2 teaspoon of salt and about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Now that's to your taste. That ham has such a really wonderful flavor. It didn't need a lot of either one, but I did put that. And so that was all it is to it. And I'll try to type the recipe for you in the comments if I can remember what I did. So if trial and error, just try it. You want to boil that ham in that water though to get all that fat. If you got a piece of fat, put it in there and you get all of that wonderful flavor from the ham when you put it in that water and just let it roll and roll and simmer and simmer. And then I put the milk and I brought it back up to the rolling boil, and then I started dumping my dumplings. And so I hope you'll try it. I hope that you'll keep faith in your heart, peace in your home, and good food on your table. I love you and God bless.